Closed shops, houses for sale, decades of industrial relocation to countries with low production costs have caused damage to many regions in France, leaving behind industrial wastelands like this one in the small town of Revin. But good news is on the horizon. A major bicycle producer has announced it's coming back.
Made in Asia dumping has harmed European industry. Can the European Union rescue Made in Europe and save European jobs? Let's investigate in France's Ardennes region.
The EU has laws to fight unfair competition. To better safeguard industry, the European Commission introduced anti-dumping tariffs in some sectors. The mayor of Revin and the president of the Municipalities Association both welcomed this protection.
I think we need to protect ourselves. It's obvious that we can't go on like this, selling our industry to China and Southeast Asia.
In the 80s and 90s, Revin had 12,500 inhabitants. Today, there are just over 6,000. We've lost half of our population. We have an unemployment rate of 27%. That's huge.
For us, it's a real satisfaction to see an historic French bicycle brand, Mercier, come back and settle down in Revin when it was in Southeast Asia. It proves that industry is not dead in the Ardennes region and that it's possible for a company that relocated abroad a few years ago to come back.
The company's plan is to produce 500,000 bicycles annually and launch production next year. The €11 million investment to do so is heavily subsidised by French and European taxpayers. But many components are still made in Asia. That's why the production site is close to the ports of Rotterdam and Antwerp.
We're close to big European countries here. It's the gateway to Northern and Eastern Europe and a market of 110 million people.
This bike factory will create 270 jobs in Revin. The local employment agency has already received hundreds of applications. One of them is Stephanie's. She's attending an open day to check out their innovative recruitment method. Job seekers' skills will be tested by simulating work like welding.
A lot of people moved away because of unemployment. Before, Revin was quite densely populated. But today there's hardly anyone left. Opening a factory here will bring back quite a lot of people.
Some of the job seekers remember the site before it became an industrial wasteland. When the factory where Michael worked closed, his endless search for employment began.
Given that I live in Revin, it will be a great advantage to me to find work locally. I wouldn't have to travel back and forth. I want a stable job. Right now I'm temping a lot. 1 week I'm here, 1 week I'm there. That's no life.
Mercier is responding to a surge in European demand for both regular and electric bikes. But the CEO in charge of this return to France is not in favour of anti-dumping tariffs on countries outside the EU.
Anti-dumping tariffs are just a smokescreen. It's a bit difficult to embrace anti-dumping tariffs when 80% of our component producers are in Asia. I think we really need to consider how we can relocate that production to Europe, or how we can encourage global producers, Asian producers, to make them in Europe, even in France.
Saint-Étienne was home to France's once booming bike industry. In the 1920s, thousands worked in the local bike factories here. Joël knows all about the rise and fall of the city's industrial past.
In 1886, the British cycling champion Duncan presented his security bike in Saint-Étienne. The Gautier brothers welcomed him. They were mechanics in the arms industry. They were inspired by the bike and produced the first made in Saint-Étienne French bicycle. That was the start of our city's big industrial life. There was a multitude of ideas. Patents were filed, gear-changing inventions came to life. The derailleur gear technique was invented in Saint-Étienne in 1911. The 1920s were really the golden age of bicycles, but in the 70s, due to economic changes, relocation and growing competition from foreign factories, Saint-Étienne wasn't able to keep up.
But there is now good news. A local startup has honoured and revived this lost local industry with a bicycle designed for families with children.
We only work with locals, and so that's helped us to be more agile and flexible. On top of that, if we need to do any modifications, it's easier to work directly with local people instead of exchanging emails and perhaps having to travel to factories in China, for example, to get the products made.
The main objective for us is to propose a bicycle that's really made in France at a price that's similar to our competitors. Our bikes are made locally and they haven't crossed 2 oceans and 15,000 kilometers in a cargo ship.
Skyrocketing transport fees, climate concerns and changing consumer habits, combined with clever marketing and solid industrial know-how, have sparked this new European trend. Highly experienced men like Hani Mohammed are the welders behind this made-in-Europe success story.
It's very, very difficult to weld aluminium, for those who don't know this technique. It's all about craftsmanship. You need to be very fast. It's quite powerful.
Is this new boom in the bike industry triggered by the demands of a growing market, or did the EU anti-dumping duties help?
The anti-dumping duties helped us to make our choice and to focus on producing locally and in nearby countries.
In France and Europe, we're lucky to be protected by laws and the famous anti-dumping tariffs, which limit and reduce the import of components and bicycles from Asia. This protects French and European economies from parts produced at low cost in some Asian countries.
Munir is putting his career hopes on France's revived bicycle industry. The young Frenchman also believes in the importance of EU anti-dumping rules.
I think that they're good. They'll allow us to sell more, if I may say so, because there'll be fewer products imported from abroad.
Some welcome anti-dumping duties while others oppose them due to their dependence on parts from Asia. There may be bumps on the road ahead.